Okay, I got cut off there for a second. I think my video just ran out of time or something. And I'm in my office now because my wife and one of my kids are making some tea, so I got kicked out of the dining room. Anyway, so I was talking about, I was just saying, if you just start treating, if you have enough information about your environment and how your symptoms, and you're kind of at the point where it seems like you might have a mold problem, you could spend a lot of money on testing. And I wanted to have confirmation, so I knew. So I did a lot of testing, but it's expensive, and you may not have to do that. So I did the CIRS blood. I mean, I did this before I knew I had mold. I didn't know what was going on, so I was just doing everything. I spent thousands of dollars on testing different things, and then I started to suspect mold. I started to suspect mold or Lyme based on just internet searches and my symptoms. No doctors were able to tell me this after spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I had to go to the doctor and tell him, test me for mold, CIRS, and Lyme. And then I had to tell him what that meant, how you would do that. And I had to find it, and I figured out pretty quickly that I didn't have a doctor, even a functional medicine doctor, that actually had heard of these things before, wasn't even the right person to be working with. So I did a lot of research to try to find people that knew anything about this at all. It's incredibly hard to find people for some reason. The first couple people, I found a chiropractor in Clearwater actually that ran the CIRS labs for me. He was a mold experience and he was a mold experiencer. I guess you could say he went through it himself at least once, maybe more than once in his life, and he understood it. So that was good. He was a chiropractor, and it was a good start, but he was missing a lot of things. So he at least ran the tests and convinced me that I had a mold problem. So I stopped spending all this money on all this other stuff, which was good. But if you can get to a point where you think, there's a Reddit forum, toxic mold exposure, I think it's called toxic mold exposure, mold toxicity, something like that. There's a Reddit forum called CIRS, I think, which is good. But if you go on there and start reading and post and ask questions and stuff, and you get to a point where you've got enough information and you feel like this is like, might be your situation. I see people post on the forum, and I'm like, yeah, you got mold. Like, you don't need to go test it. It's just from what you're saying, like almost certain that that's what your problem is. But I'm like, just, if you want to save some money, just start the treatment. Test your environment. And if you want some confirmation, spend $500 on a urine test. I have a hard time recommending the urine test a little bit because I know a lot of people, when they're in mold, the urine test can actually show up negative. So that scares me a little bit, telling somebody to go do that test to confirm you have mold and then having them get a test back that says they don't have mold when they actually do. And it could come back negative because you have so much mold that your body is not detoxing. And that's what concerns me. My first urine test was not very high. It was above the threshold, but just not crazy amounts above the threshold, like 30% or 50%. And the first doctor I had run it looked at it, he said, wow, this isn't, you're above the threshold, but he's like, this isn't that bad. And I've seen people that are way worse than this, And of course, he wasn't experienced with it. He didn't understand, like, okay, there's special ways to do this test called provoking to try to ensure that the results show up. And there's different opinions on provoking. The basics of provoking are, taking like liposomal glutathione and for 4 or 5 days or even a day. And then also doing like infrared sauna or a hot bath the night before, and then doing first morning urine collection. And if you do that, if you do liposomal glutathione for 4 days before each day, and then you do a very hot bath, Epsom salt bath maybe, or just a hot bath the night before, and do first morning urine, much higher chances you're going to pick something up on that urine test. But I know the labs, I don't know if the labs love that because it kind of skews the results a little bit. So, everybody has their own recommendations on that. But I think that, if you're going to do it, I think you should do that. And as you're treating it, the doctor I'm working with now they actually, I never did provoking originally, and then I started doing provoking, and my numbers went way up, like 20-fold. So I was 20-fold above a couple limits and like 10 to 15-fold up above a couple others. I actually had one test that wasn't even provoked after I started treatment, that I was 20-fold above without provoking. And then I started provoking later, and now I just did my last test and provoked, and I was about 5 times above the limit, which was still, a little shocking. It's just, I got more work to do. But it's been a year, and I'm still 5 times above the limit. So, I've done a lot. Anyway, where am I going with that? So I've still got some stuff to work on there. Use your judgment on the urine test, because you could spend a lot of money on that, and it may not be necessary. The blood testing might be covered by insurance. Some of it might be. So if you look into the CIRS blood testing, like the MSH, VEGF, MMP9, if you're concerned about money, that can be a very expensive stuff too if it's not covered by insurance. So ask those questions. Ask if there is any test that you could do. Ask your doctor if there's any tests that you could do that could be covered by insurance to prove that you have mold toxicity. Boy, I'm trying to think if I've experienced anything that I know for sure is covered. I'm not sure that I have. Every insurance is different too. The other tests I did, a couple of other tests, was I did an MRI of my brain with NeuroQuant. NeuroQuant quantifies the size of your brain, different areas of your brain, and then compares them to reference baselines to see if your brain is atrophied or if it's swollen or whatever. And that's interesting. And again, I wanted to know exactly what was going on. This is not cheap. Probably, I don't know if that was $500 or $300, something like that. And insurance does not cover that either, I don't believe. So I did that. You get that NeuroQuant result, and you can feed that into a tool online on survivingmold.com and feed the numbers in there, and it will tell you if you match up with their reference baseline for mold or Lyme or neither. So that can be another way to confirm or not confirm that you're dealing with mold or Lyme or both. So I did that and put it on the website, and it came up with, for me, it showed up as mold and not Lyme. And then I did an IGeneX test for Lyme, which is the test. That's the test you want to do for Lyme, is IGeneX. Also expensive. If you've got these symptoms, they can be caused by Lyme or mold or both. And the Lyme and mold thing is it's very much crossover. They affect each other. They both affect the immune system, and that's why it's kind of like they're really tied in together. What I've heard and I believe, and I think is the best way to look at it, is attack mold first. Unless you know you have Lyme, then maybe you do something different. But I think you go after mold first regardless. Start getting mold out of your system. Start getting that out as quick as you can. Your body will become more capable of dealing with Lyme and stronger. And in a lot of cases, it might actually take care of the Lyme on its own. And I've heard numerous doctors say that. Not always. If you have Lyme, it's not guaranteed. But even if you have Lyme and you're going to treat Lyme later on, you want the mold as far out of the picture as possible before you get into treating Lyme. But know that you should keep Lyme somewhere in the back of your brain. Because if you get through all this mold stuff and you're still having problems, that could be part of it. You might have some Lyme activation. And it's very hard to pick up. The IGeneX test is the best one, I think, from what I've heard. And even that, I think you need to be working with a Lyme practitioner that's very experienced and knows how to interpret that test. And that test, along with symptoms and along with your history and everything, like everything else, they can kind of guide you. I'm not going to get into Lyme any more than that, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole you can go down. But right now, just get through the mold thing first. Okay, so some things. We talked about supplements a little bit. A couple more supplements that I thought of. Vitamin D is incredibly important. Vitamin D, and I've had so many doctors say this, and I've seen it. It just seems like it's all over the place. Vitamin D, get your levels up to about 100. That's about what I know about it. And that seemed really high to me originally, but I've had so many people tell me, so many doctors have said 100, get to 100. If you're dealing with this mold stuff, get to 100. And vitamin D will help prevent autoimmune issues. Helps your immune system. It just helps so many things. So vitamin D, you may have to take really high doses of it, like 20,000 IUs a day or 50,000 IUs a day. I mean, I took some for a long time. It can take months to build it up. I think it took me 5 months to get my level up to 95 to 100. So vitamin D, you should consider taking vitamin A, K, along with vitamin D. There's a combined called vitamin ADK. That's pretty common. You could do that. Talk to your doctor about the A and K. Seems to be important. I've had that recommended a few times. D, way more important. A and K also somewhat important. And then vitamin E is good too, I think, for heart health and some different things. Dave Asprey recommends these three. He calls them vitamin DAKE, D-A-K-E. And Dave Asprey is he's like an influencer. He went through mold himself, and that's why I kind of he's also a smart guy. I put some stock into what he says. He went through mold pretty badly, I think in his early 30s. Really bad. So, and he seems to be in pretty good shape now. Another one is NAC, N-acetylcysteine. That's a precursor for glutathione. And so your body can make glutathione. If you give it NAC, it should boost your glutathione levels. NAC itself also can be a binder, apparently, and a biofilm disruptor, possibly. So NAC is a good thing to take, and I've had many doctors recommend that. Almost everybody recommends that. That's one. Just like take it like a multi, but just take it you can take it forever. I actually have a multivitamin with NAC in it. So it's pure formulations, I think it is. NAC multivitamin 950 or something like that. So I just get it with multivitamin. It's, so I had a doctor tell me to take that for the rest of your life, which I probably will. Another one good for your liver is astaxanthin. Astaxanthin, Astaxanthin. This one you don't come across as often, but I've found very good benefits from this for your liver. Anti-inflammatory,